Go up on the tube. There we go. I think we're good.
Okay, I'm just. All right, cool.
All righty. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. And the stock market is crazy and chaotic. What a freaking day, Fat Man Zoom. You got the starting five for me today?
Yes, sir. Starting five: Jay Ali, Robert Blackwell, Victor Lau, Oliver Thorpe, and Jonathan Schreiber are starting five.
Bro, this is one of the best days that my account has ever had since starting it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Unbelievable day. The big winners for me have been OIH. Airbnb has been like on an absolute tear. And then, of course, Penn's also making a pretty comeback. How's your day been?
Great. Clawing back, man. I have Drive Shack, which has had monster move. Clover has had a great move as well, up almost 10%. Shout out to my Clover holders. But overall, I mean, I thought this might be continuation for Tesla. I was really thinking today could be a breakout day for Tesla. It's still green, so I'm fine with it. Marathon Oil, shout out to the watch list that did well. So happy with the performance of the market overall and with specifically my portfolio. So far, so good.
Yeah, lots of bullish headlines that we're going to be covering today too. But man, I just saw Mike B talking about Rocket. Yeah, I mean, existing home sales came out yesterday, and Rocket's rocketing. And so we got earnings that come out today from Toll Brothers as well, which is one of the major home builders. So we'll certainly be giving that a look. But yeah, man, there's just so much going on. It seems like all of a sudden everybody's kind of like being positive yet again after we've had some pretty abysmal over the last 2 weeks have been pretty abysmal as far as sentiment's been concerned.
Yeah, it has. Good to see two solid green days, not just kind of moving a little bit.
Yeah.
So certainly hope we have a great week. Hopefully end the week green, but seeing good movement for the rest of the week would definitely be a bonus. And we'll be here live as we always are to follow along with that. For you guys who haven't been to our channel, welcome to Own the Chaos. We are live every Monday through Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time through market close to talk to you about the latest that's going on, give you updates on things we're doing, why or why not the market may react in such a way. And then we have our sort of flagship content, which is Stock Watch Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So welcome to all the newcomers. Welcome back to our Chaos crew. And those of you who are regulars, but maybe haven't pulled the trigger on the Chaos crew, who knows, maybe today's the day you hit that join button. But we got some good stuff we're talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see the likes already rolling in. We're just getting started. So we only got 53 people hanging in here so far. I know that number will go up, but let's go ahead and hit that like button too. Guys, if you haven't done so already, we're still trying to get to our 150 mark. It's been a little bit of a slower week, but hopefully we can get that number up to that 150 goal today. But man, yeah, there's just so much going on. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with, and you and I haven't talked about this, but any thoughts on earnings? So we will be reporting earnings after hours. For those of you who aren't familiar with our earnings watch, basically we're going to give a reaction on earnings today. It will be Intuit, Nordstrom, Toll Brothers, market close will pull that up. But this morning, I think Advance Auto Parts was the one that we were probably looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that earnings? I know the stock isn't moving too much, but thoughts on the earnings in general?
They knocked it out of the park. They raised guidance. They came in and smashed earnings. They came in pretty much in line with revenue. If you guys didn't catch any of those numbers, but yeah, I mean, I think this actually bodes well. If you guys aren't a part of the Chaos crew, I ended up putting AutoZone on the watch list today because of what we saw from Advanced Auto Parts. It didn't seem to me, for the life of me, couldn't figure out why we saw the sell-off first thing in the morning as a reaction there, other than the fact that maybe there was some selling of the news. But I thought this was great, especially with the guidance raise. And we've talked about how the chip shortage is behind us the worst of the chip shortages behind us, but that there's still a very long road ahead of us here. And so used car sales are still very high in demand, which obviously bodes well for the auto parts stores. And I'm talking not just Advanced Auto Parts and AutoZone, but also O'Reilly's as well. I think AutoZone is going to be my one go to though, only because the share structure is nice and small. It doesn't take a whole lot to get this thing moving, even though it's a little bit higher price. It just continues to go up. They have earnings that they'll be reporting on here soon too, so looking forward to that. I think it's definitely something to take advantage of on a flat or red day for both of those, really.
Yeah, and speaking of watch list, if you guys are interested in our free watch list, which we send out every morning before the market opens, send out 5 stocks that we're watching for the day. Go ahead and go into the description. There's a link in the description, which will take you to onlychaos.com, and it'll get you that free watch list. So make sure you guys check that out. As far as, so this is an interesting topic. So this idea of social commerce I want to talk about. So you sent me over an article, a partnership announced by Shopify and TikTok, and you could discuss a little bit about the partnership and this idea of social commerce. Facebook has Facebook Marketplace. It has Instagram Carts now. How do you like this deal? What are the implications for Shopify? And where is this going?
Yeah, so let me share my screen so you guys can see what we're talking about here. It's very interesting when we look at this. I think that this could be a big deal. So the company announced a deal with TikTok that will let businesses create digital storefronts and give consumers the ability to buy products directly through the social media app for the first time. And this is actually something that I think is huge for the company. I think it's good for both. I mean, Shopify has been digging their way into a lot of other areas from a social media aspect of it. And I think that, we look at their huge love of Slack as a platform that they use for business solutions and that sort of thing. And this just kind of plays into that. I think it ties into Shopify's DNA very well. And I think that this could be something. I'm surprised, Fatman Zoom, and you let me know what your thoughts are on this too, but I'm surprised that other businesses haven't thought about doing this sooner.
Yeah. I would agree. And, it's interesting because I know a lot of people have issues as far as social platforms are concerned, and there are some negatives behind it, but there's a lot of positives behind it. And you think about like websites and how they're kind of antiquated, and I don't want to say they're becoming obsolete, but like it's really about apps and social platforms. And so I think this is a great move for Shopify, and I think this is only the beginning of a movement we see. But go where the attention is, and attention is with social platforms, and influencers are so powerful that this is only going to grow, and it's a great move. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, the stock right now up today 4%. It's had a pretty decent pullback as well as a lot of the other platforms as far as e-commerce is concerned, and this definitely could be the move that could get Shopify going again. Maybe retest those all-time highs. It's sitting at 1538. The all-time high is at 1650. Today's move signifies a move back up over the 50-day moving average. So also another good indicator there as well, that this could be the catalyst that needed to keep the momentum going here. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, Shopify's made some great moves, great partnerships this year. A company that hasn't really made great news is Peloton. And Peloton, which we're big fans of, back in May, they had a massive recall regarding safety issues on their treadmill. They initially had an expensive treadmill called Tread Plus. Then they were actually launching a more affordable treadmill, and there was some child safety issues that came to light. And so this was kind of a big deal, and obviously pounded the stock. But Peloton just announced that next week they will begin selling the low-cost treadmills, and they have some safety measures that they put in place to not have this happen again. I don't know if you remember the video, but like there was a child who actually survived and was fine, but was on the treadmill. On top of it, the treadmill starts and it like goes under. It's like the treadmill swallowed the kid. It was crazy and it was kind of scary. But Peloton says the issues are addressed. Is this enough for them? And where do you see Peloton going in light of earnings this Thursday after hours?
This is a really interesting, man, because I'm a little nervous for Peloton just because they have earnings on Thursday, as mentioned, after hours, which we will be live for, by the way. So make sure you're hitting that notification bell to get notified when we go live at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. But man, this is I had mentioned to our chaos crew, our level 3 chaos crew, as far as Peloton's concerned, that I'm a little bit nervous. I have a firm, and a firm is one of the big, it has a lot of exposure to Peloton. And I actually was considering maybe trimming up a firm leading into earnings because I'm a little bit nervous about this particular quarter in general. I'm not saying that Peloton can't continue to roll here, but there is some concern just because of the slowing in demand of people wanting to work out from home. We actually just saw Morgan Stanley this afternoon upgrade Planet Fitness. They're seeing a 90% return rate from what they saw at pre-pandemic levels. So that's actually pretty interesting as well. Not to say that Peloton's going away, because I still feel very bullish on it. I'm just a little nervous about this particular quarter and looking for opportunities, because I think going into the fall and winter months, especially as we get back to January 1st with the resolutioners and all that stuff, I think that there's going to be an opportunity here. I'm not sure I'd be buying it up here, Fat Man Zoom. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this is one of those earnings plays that it's a coin flip, and like bull bear case is there. So I think it's worth a wait. And we have enough conviction in the stock that if you get an overreaction to the downside, I think you scoop it up. If it runs, I think you just let it run without you. This is a post earnings play for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. And I don't want to sit here and hope that it drops, but man, I hope that at least doesn't leave the station without me. And again, with the ties with the firm, I'm a little bit nervous holding on to my full position size here. So I may actually consider taking trimming some of that position, only because I'm already up around 15% on it. And so it may make some sense to at least trim some and hold some for the just in case.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be live on Thursday after hours. Excited about Peloton. So again, guys, make sure you guys like this live stream. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified when we go live Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time for the Peloton earnings.
All right.
So as far as Fat Man Zoom special, we had some news that directly impacts the M in Fat Man Zoom, and that's MGM Resorts.
Yes,
bro. We've been talking about Macau for a very long time, and we had some news out of Macau. And I'm not going to say some great news. I want you to tell me if this is great news. So for those of you who don't know what Macau is basically the Las Vegas of the Eastern Hemisphere, right? And so it's off of mainland China. It's an island off of mainland China, and it is really where a lot of these casinos are making money. A lot of people think Vegas, and yes, there's money in Vegas, but the money is in Macau.
Yeah.
And so your big players are there. Macau announced that they were easing travel restrictions for mainland China citizens. So prior, the COVID restrictions were you needed a negative test within 48 hours. Now it's pushed to 7 days. Is this material enough? And obviously this affects Wynn, MGM, Caesars, and I think Sands as well. But MGM is the one I care about. And it looks like it's about to break out. Is this what we need to break out? Or is this 48-hour to 7-day negative test not enough?
I think this is a step in the right direction. And we actually put MGM back onto the watch list last week when it fell below $40 a share. And I actually put it right back on the watch list this morning because of this news. And I would be lying if I said that I didn't feel this way because of what's going on. This is the first step in the loosening of some of the restrictions here. And so I had mentioned in our watch list this morning that a move or close above $40 a share would be really promising for this. and which is again above the 50-day moving average. It's actually, believe it or not, even though it's up 3.5% today, still kind of sitting right in the middle of the RSI there. So no worries of it overheating or being overbought here. I still think that there's plenty of room to run for MGM, and this could be something that really kickstarts it. Not to mention, here in the States as well, just the FDA approval of Pfizer and some of the more positive sentiment coming from the COVID-19. I think there's just a lot going for them, a lot of tailwinds here for MGM and really the industry itself.
Well, and it looks like it's ready to break out. Does it even matter? Because MGM seems to be making all the right moves and really executing properly. And their BetMGM app, for as much as I love MGM, I got to be honest, I'm surprised at how well they're doing so early. Does it even matter about Macau, or is Macau just icing on the cake?
That's a really great question. I think it does matter to a certain extent, but I don't think it matters as much to MGM as it would like a Wynn Resorts, because I think that they rely very heavily on Macau, and we can take a look at Wynn here as well. And their exposure to Macau and what the way they rely on it is much greater, which is why we're seeing a stronger move out of Wynn. It's up 7% today. Get ready to cross over that crucial resistance at $100 a share. So yeah, man, I think that while it is really a really important day for companies like Wynn, I think that it's more or less icing on the cake for MGM.
Yeah. I would agree with you. It's probably more critical for other companies, but kudos to MGM because they're really doing a great job. And even though they're back to the pre-pandemic levels nearly, I think they're in for a nice future. And as far as Fat Man Zoom stocks, I'm as bullish on that as any of the other stocks that I hold. Shout out to Charlie Connor. Yes, Wynn is in for the win. Very creative, friend.
Yeah.
So those are our main topics, but I do want to talk about something that actually Andre said regarding the overall market. And we have these green runs. There's excitement, but I also think people tend to almost get a little too antsy and kind of freak out and maybe sell too soon. Or maybe there is a sort of a pullback coming when you have two solid green days. Andre said, I'm expecting a huge sell-off soon or a correction. Do you share those sentiments?
No, I don't. And if we look at the SPY, we talked about this just last week, Fat Man Zoom, if you recall, on Thursday, about how the S&P was getting back to that 50-day moving average. There's still a lot of tailwinds here in favor of the market continuing to go up. If you remember, we talked about this, that even though the market was seeing high after high, it seemed over the last 3-4 weeks, and really since July, that the rest of the market, say for some of the large caps that were heavily weighted in the indexes, were actually doing terrible. Unless you were in some of the large caps like Apple and maybe a Facebook or a Microsoft, and maybe some of the other value stocks like Caterpillar, your account was doing terrible. If you were in some of the epicenter plays that we've been talking about and some of the energy plays, your account was doing really, really terrible. So this is more of a broader type of rally that we're seeing rather than just so narrow. And so I think that broader bullish sentiment is what's going to carry the market higher. And I think that there's a lot of tailwinds here. The only thing that I could see this actually why this would cause any kind of correction is if, we have the Fed meeting in Jackson Hole on Thursday. If they come out and give us any kind of hint of a surprise, whether it's with tapering or raising rates or anything like that, moving up the timeline, that could be something. Or we see some sort of 2 steps back type of deal with COVID. Those are 2 scenarios in which I could see maybe a potential correction, but we haven't seen a solid correction. And I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to sit here and pat myself on the back a little bit. Back in March, I said that I don't think that we see a stock market crash in 2021 period. The market hasn't corrected 5% since then. So we've seen some drops here and there. But I think that we're bullish as ever at this point, going into the rest of the year. And I think it's more of a broader everything type of rally rather than just so isolated and focused on the larger caps.
There's always opportunity in the markets, and I don't even know how much it matters. People are so focused on the overall market in a correction.
Yeah.
The reality is, like, unless you're directly like getting into ETFs or index funds that are mimicking like a SPY, what does it even matter? Because this obviously it's sort of a gauge, but the market can be slightly up today, but then other stocks are shooting off like CrowdStrike, which brings me to one that has moved. And shout out to you because you called this. I think this was on Stockwatch Sunday, was it not?
Palo Alto was, but we talked about CrowdStrike being our favorite ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you've talked about CrowdStrike many times, and it was on one of your top stocks. It was on one of our top stock videos. But CrowdStrike goes off, and a lot of it could be attributed to it. CrowdStrike's entering into the NASDAQ 100, which we hadn't reported on. But as of open on Thursday, CrowdStrike will be entered into the NASDAQ 100. Obviously, the overall market tech has been doing really well today, so you expected it to be green, but maybe this is giving a little bit of boost to it. Would you be worried about a sell-off post entering into the NASDAQ 100 for CrowdStrike?
I don't think so. I think that CrowdStrike is moving up, and maybe in part of this NASDAQ 100, but really it comes down to what Palo Alto had to say on their earnings, and I think that that's the sympathy play here. Palo Alto moved 12% yesterday. This morning. It was up 12%. And they had so many good things to say in that earnings report. If anybody caught the conference call or the report itself, they talked about, the stay-at-home type of play, that this is actually the new normal. They are 100% behind this. And the CEO made mention of a lot of the ransomware headlines. And we actually spoke about this. It was so funny to see the CEO talking about the same things that we've been talking to you guys about when it comes to cybersecurity. Right now it's actually up almost 19%. They had a huge buyback, which is also a big catalyst for Palo Alto, but this is carrying over into a lot of the other ones too. Zscaler also having a great day, which is another competitor. So I think just across the board, Fat Man Zoom, it's doing really well, even though CrowdStrike is our favorite one in this space.
Yeah. Keep an eye on it for sure. See what happens as far as NASDAQ's concerned, but I'll keep saying it. Cybersecurity belongs in everybody's portfolio as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, pick your favorite one and go with it. Just to kind of get back to the overall market, and you made a really good point of mentioning the just because we've seen 2 green days doesn't necessarily mean you run for the hills. I mean, some of the stuff that we've been talking about that at least you and I have, and people within the Chaos Crew that we're in, are the epicenter type stocks that have really gotten beaten down as a result of COVID wreaking havoc. The energy plays, they've all gotten beaten down. Energy is still down like 40% from its highs, almost 40% from its highs. And I'm looking at something like Penn National and Airbnb that's having a great day. Those are all still way off from their highs. So there's still tons of upside here in spite of there being a really good couple of days. I think it would be really easy to lose sight of that a little bit. And not really see the full picture, is that there's still a lot of room to run here for a lot of these stocks that have continually been beaten down.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we're about to get into earnings. We have about 5 minutes till close. If you guys want to shout out a question, feel free to throw out a question because we have a few minutes. But until then, how many people do we have in the house?
We got 116 of you guys hanging in here, so we appreciate you being with us this afternoon. We got 58 likes, trying to get the like count up. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, or maybe you're a first timer, you're having a great day. Are you green today? Give us a thumbs up if you are.
We have earnings. So like we mentioned early on, Intuit and Nordstrom and Toll Brothers have earnings. Starting with Intuit's expected earnings per share is $1.68. The company's interesting because first off, they've missed their past 2 earnings. They slightly missed last quarter, even though it was a record quarter. But their model is very cyclical. So I'm really interested to see how this stock does because Last quarter, they estimated $6.47 a share. This quarter is $1.68. Shows the cyclical nature of the stock. So I'm really interested in that. Any thoughts on Intuit in general?
I think, yeah, Intuit has been something that's continually run. And I don't know if there's any reason to doubt that they're going to come in and impress on earnings. My only concern is that this thing continues to go crazy. This is up at all time. I hit all time highs again today, so I worry about this. And we talk about this all the time. When you see something run like this into earnings, it's like what comes afterwards when they come in and they kind of come in with the expectation that they're going to beat. So I would imagine that there's a pretty good likelihood that we might see a little bit of a selling of the news here. So I'd be cautious holding this going into earnings, but we'll see what they say. I mean, this has done nothing but crush it quarter after quarter here, and this may well be another quarter in which they do that.
I'll tell you what, I haven't really been looking too much at Nordstrom, but Nordstrom has earnings per share estimates of 28 cents a share. They came in last quarter at a loss of 64 cents.
Yeah.
Looking at it technically, and if you look at it over the past year, I think Nordstrom could blow it out. I think they could be the big winner when we read the headlines tomorrow.
I think so too, man. And look, I mean, we've been talking about this. I feel like ad nauseum. I hope that you guys aren't sick of us talking about it, but the retail trade has been on absolute fire for months. And we've been talking about it literally for months. And Nordstrom could very well be in that conversation. I mean, we just saw what Kohl's did last week, and Kohl's was one that wasn't really in favor of a lot of investors, and they came in and doubled earnings per share. And I have to admit too, like I haven't been all that in favor of Nordstrom either, just because they have had some balance sheet issues, and then we saw the loss that they came in at last time around, which disappointed a lot. I mean, you could see how this gap down and actually really came down the retested 200-day moving average. Has been since moving up, probably in response to some of the other retail numbers that we've seen. So I'm a lot more positive on Nordstrom here in going into the earnings than I would have been maybe even about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, this one I think is definitely one that maybe people are sleeping on a little bit.
Yeah, and lastly, Toll Brothers, and I have a really good question I want to get into afterwards. Not too much for me on Toll Brothers. Just to give the numbers, $1.54 a share of the estimates. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, we saw existing home sales go up in July and in June. So that was really promising. We've been talking about this issue of supply and demand as far as real estate's concerned. And there for a while, we saw a pretty significant drop off in existing home sales. And we talked about how this was a huge supply issue as far as homes that are available to be bought. Well, and that's where Toll Brothers, D.R. Horton, KB Homes, all of them come into play here. So I think that Toll Brothers will probably end up going higher as a result. The only way to solve the supply issue is to continue to build new homes, and Toll Brothers is definitely in that conversation.
I wanted to get this question out from James McCrea as we gear down towards the market. Do you think the new SEC rule is a good thing for a penny stock market? And I know you said something to me about it. I actually don't know what the new rule is and how it's impacting the penny stock world.
Yeah, so it has a lot to do with current reporting and the designations there. So I think overall it is good for the over the counter penny stock market. If you guys have been following me for any length of time, that's kind of where I cut my teeth, was on over the counter penny stocks. I ended up making a living out of that. And when you looked at it back in the day, it was really shoddy. I mean, it still is. Most of the companies shouldn't even be publicly traded, but they are. And especially the ones that have been defunct haven't had a filing in years, and people continue to trade them. So I think that this forces these companies to follow the rules a little bit more. And I think in the long run will hurt a lot less people that way.
Yeah. Going back to Nordstrom stock, Dimitri asked, do you think Nordstrom will restore its dividend? And I believe that they very well could. It's a little bit more questionable because of their reliance on brick and mortar, and they may not this quarter simply because they don't know about the Delta variant. However, you should feel confident that I would say by the end of the year, you could see a dividend restored. So we're seeing this with companies. Buybacks are starting to happen. Dividends are starting to happen. Especially if they think their stock is massively undervalued. Why not do it? And what else to move the stock than a dividend distribution?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's look at this right now after hours. I saw that Andre is asking about AMC and GameStop. Bro, we didn't mention this. And one of the big reasons, Andre, is because everybody else is talking about it. Let's just bring something different to the table. But I will say that AMC went up like 20% today. All the meme stocks, and including Clover, actually had a hell of a day. Looks like some of the money came back in some of the spec plays and was squeezing some of the shorts out.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Wild West with the meme stock. So I'm happy with Clover. I'm looking for that $10. Somebody said I can't wait till we get to 27. That's going to be the day, but certainly a good day for those stocks as well. Market is officially closed.
Yep. Market's officially closed. We're going to be waiting on some of those earnings that coming in right now. It looks like nothing's really reacting a whole lot except for Intuit. Looks like they might have some earnings out here. It's already up 1% after hours. It closed the day at 554, now sitting at 562 and climbing. Fat Man Zoom still rolling.
All right. Let's see. What do we got? What's the ticker? INTU?
INTU. Yeah. INTU is the ticker symbol here, and we got some pretty decent action going on.
Looks like it's strong full year results and sets 2022 guidance. No numbers yet.
We got 79 likes, 134 of you guys hanging in here.
There we go.
Go ahead.
They beat earnings per share estimates were $1.68, as we mentioned, came in at $1.97. Revenue, they beat as well. Estimates were $2.32 billion, came in at $2.56 hefty. And as I mentioned, raised or set out guidance, which is good. Looks good.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, which is pretty typical for after hours trading when earnings get released. But it was up as high as around 1.5%, almost 2%, and now actually ended up turning red. So I must have missed that. Did you? Was there anything on guidance there?
It just had its set guidance for 2022.
Okay.
I don't think they had guidance, but
okay. So yeah, now it's just officially I've gone red here. It's now down about 0.5%. So pretty interesting move from there. Nordstrom is also moving up here after hours, as well as Toll Brothers, Fat Man Zoom. Everybody's releasing them early. Nordstrom's actually popping off here. It's almost 3%.
That's what I thought. I mean, this feels like it's ready to boom. Everything kind of worked out. No numbers yet from Nordstrom as far as I see. Toll Brothers, let's see what's going on there.
Yeah, Toll Brothers had a little bit of a pop, is now sitting down red just a little bit. Oh, and it's a little all over the place right now. It's hard to keep up with that one. Nordstrom still looking pretty good here, up around 1% still after hours. It looks like some of the trading activity is indicating that earnings might be out here. If you guys are just tuning in, we went over Intuit's numbers. They came in and beat pretty good. Still waiting on the guidance numbers to see if they actually raised their guidance or not, but it's only up around 1.25%. What you got?
Nothing yet. Let me refresh this, see if I can get something.
All right. So right now, Nordstrom is up around 1.5%. Toll Brothers is also up 1.5%. If you guys are just tuning in, we went over a lot of stuff today. Man, there's a lot of really good headlines that we went over that is causing the market to go up. And it wasn't just any one thing. I mean, I think the big one was, over the last couple of days has been the full FDA approval of the Pfizer vaccine. We're seeing some pretty positive numbers as far as COVID cases are concerned. But there's also a lot of other stuff too. There was raised a lot of questions as to whether or not, you should be selling stuff right now. And I think that at this point, we kind of had that general discussion of maybe just hold off and wait here. We never discourage anybody to take profits, but some of the stuff that we've been talking about, especially the stocks that got beaten down over COVID, they still have a lot of room to run. We always talk about managing risk and that sort of thing, but it's always easy to quickly pull the trigger and push the sell button. But sometimes, exercising that little bit of patience can really pay off in the long run.
Yeah, patience definitely pays off. I want to acknowledge Cream, who mentioned that 90% of his comments never get brought up. And just so we're clear on the channel, not that your comments aren't worthy, trying to bring new things to the channel. Discord's really where we bring new things. So if you guys are interested in joining the Chaos Crew, click the join button. In Discord, we actually have a separate channel for crew callouts where you can bring your due diligence, bring your stocks to the table. If you want to get shouted out on our channel, the way to get shout out most likely is to comment on what we're talking about. So to add value in addition to what we're talking about, to steer us towards a ticker that we're not talking about, is just unlikely you're going to get talked about because everybody's throwing different things in our direction. So we appreciate the commentary. It's just less likely if you're not doing it in Discord that we're gonna sort of change the trajectory of any of our live streams.
Bro, Nordstrom was up as much as 5% here, and it is going crazy right now.
I still have nothing.
It was up, and then like all of a sudden it started selling off.
Oh, here we go. They raised their fiscal year outlook. Beat earnings per share consensus estimates were 28 cents. Came in at 49 cents. I really like this, and you can't be. I mean, this is great.
Yeah,
this is great. I think this was a perfect storm to set up. And if this drops, it's a buy for me. I don't need to see anything else.
Yeah, right now it is trying to figure out a direction here, and it just went red. Yeah, it's still trying to figure out a direction. Weird price action here on Nordstrom, but they came in and actually came in positive. Had lots of good stuff. You said they raised guidance as well?
They did. They raised their full year outlook.
Yeah, that's awesome. And no surprise here, right? We've been talking about this, the retail trade. People are going out and buying clothes, man. Clothes, shoes, you name it. And just all of the stores. We're talking about Macy's, Kohl's, and Foot Locker last week were the big winners in the retail space. Nordstrom is trading down right now around 1% and 2% here. So it looks like it's kind of chosen its direction, which is downward at this point. But man, I agree. I don't think that this is an opportunity to sell. I think it's more of an opportunity to buy.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Come on down. What's the purple? The 50-day or the 200-day?
That's the 200-day. That's only on the 5-minute though. I can bring it out to the daily here. So the daily has the 200 and the 50-day right around 34 and a half.
Give it to me. I think this opens green tomorrow.
I think so too. This is very surprising. I don't know what's motivating the sellers here, but I mean, that was pretty good, especially with the raising guidance. Now down 3%. Yeah, bring it on down. Spoiler alert, that's probably going to be on the watch list tomorrow.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Toll Brothers also has earnings today. I don't know if they've come out with numbers or not. It started to act like it did, and then it didn't. So it's up like 0.75%. Nothing too crazy.
It also looks like Urban Outfitters had earnings, which we don't ever talk about Urban Outfitters.
Yes.
But this is another company I generally just love. And I'm wondering what their
URB. Sorry, go ahead.
URBN. I think it's like down almost 2% after.
Yeah, it's about 2.5%. Closed the day at 40.73 and is down around 39.76. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on there either.
This is another huge opportunity. Estimates were 78 cents a share, came in at $1.28.
Wow.
Sales beat 1.08 billion, came in at 1.16 billion. Strong net sale comps, 22%. Strong double-digit growth, which is great for retail. This looks. Oh, hold on. That's digital. Oh, low single-digit negative retail store sales due to reduced store traffic. Even though I think that this could also be a great opportunity. Just pick them, which one you like better.
Yeah. I mean, and Urban Outfitters has been pretty much sideways for the better part of this year. Since March, it's really just kind of been hanging out in the sideways channel here. Yeah, I think that if I had to choose between one of these, I'm still probably going to go Nordstrom. It's down almost 4% here on some pretty solid earnings beats and an upgrade in guidance. And so I don't know. This seems like one that I probably would go after over Urban Outfitters just based off of the chart alone.
Yeah.
This looks like a huge opportunity for Nordstrom. Interesting. Let's come back out to the 5-minute chart and see what's going on here. Pretty decent sell off. I wonder what's motivating them.
Don Fran, what's up? It was we were talking about Nordstrom JWN.
Yeah, so pretty good stuff here from Nordstrom, and it's a little bit disappointing, but yeah, now it's down 5%. What's going on here?
Don't forget it. Told you.
I know.
Scoop job of the century when those upgrades come.
Yeah.
As we close out, how are we looking towards our goal?
We got 88 likes. It's a pretty low turnout here today, guys. But we still appreciate you being here this afternoon. We got 124 of you guys hanging out in the house, with 89 likes. So we could get those likes up to 100. I'd say that's a pretty good day. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up, if you're just joining us and hadn't hit that like button yet, we certainly would appreciate it. Gone over a lot of stuff. We hit up Intuit, Nordstrom. Still waiting on numbers from Toll Brothers. I don't know if we have any of those yet, but we also gave Urban Outfitters. And really, I think the big opportunity here is with Nordstrom. They came in and knocked it out of the park with earnings, and then a raised guidance, and it's down 5.25%. So this looks to me like it could be a good opportunity. Might be a different story here going into tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think, oh man, I really want to put an order for. I'm most likely going to be putting an order in.
It's really tempting.
Just got news regarding the budget. Hold on, let me see what that news is. House Democrats clear path toward passing $3.5 trillion budget and infrastructure bill. The House voted to approve it. Democrats are trying to pass their proposal. Okay.
So the infrastructure bill went through the Senate. Is that what you're saying?
Well, so no, House.
Okay.
Apparently there was some contention within the House Democrats. So that they approved $3 trillion budget and the $1 trillion infrastructure bill, which we talked about the infrastructure bill, but the budget, it's kind of created a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
The measure includes a non-binding commitment to vote on the infrastructure bill by September 27th. Okay.
So that could bode really well for some of the infrastructure plays that we've talked about, guys. Look at steel. Steel's continuing to rock and roll, and I think that that's going to be one of the bigger plays. Cleveland Cliffs, I think, is one. If you look at the chart, has been absolutely phenomenal for the last 6-7 months. And if the infrastructure bill goes through, and I think that could really create a huge breakout for Cleveland Cliffs. It's continually been a printing press through that upward ascending channel that we've talked about numerous times.
Yeah. And this could just be great for the overall market as well. The budget being approved. You're talking about $3.5 billion.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking Cleveland Cliffs, the energy sector, obviously, also oil. We've talked about Marathon Oil kind of being our go-to oil play, but also OIH was something that I'm heavily invested in. The ETF, the Oil Services ETF. If you guys just don't want to pick one particular one, you can just go with the whole industry like I did. Yeah, so this is interesting development, Fat Man Zoom. I'm sure we'll be able to touch on this a little bit more tomorrow.
Yeah, which. Tomorrow we'll be live at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully another good day of headlines. Hopefully another solid green day for everybody. Excited about that. A pre-market, pretty good earnings. So we have Express, we have Dick's. reporting 3 pre-market, and then after hours, not bad either. We got Salesforce, Snowflake, Ulta. If you guys are interested in Splunk or Box, I mean, we're not really interested in Box, but some people are. But I think that Salesforce is sort of going to be the big one we have our eyes on. But make sure you guys, again, hit the like on the way out the door, subscribe, and notification bell to let you know when we're going live.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day. I'm looking forward to it, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments. What's your favorite one you're looking forward to tomorrow? And that's gonna do it for us. Thanks again for tuning in. If you are interested in more Own the Chaos, make sure you hit the join button next to subscribe, and to help support the channel, you get a watch list from us every morning before the market opens. Gives you a snapshot of what we're looking at through the day, what might be making some moves, as well as getting some access to my trades, as well as my portfolio for our Own the Chaos crew portfolio. And guys, that's going to do it for us. We appreciate you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. There's your